Welcome back to Little House of the Dragon. You boys back in town.
Yeah.
Lord Corey. This is, of course, a sister podcast of the Puttin on Airs podcast. We really appreciate y'all listening. Lady Kirby and Lady Laura held it down last week. So I've heard. Still haven't watched the episode. But
which is just, honestly, just a little hurtful.
Well, okay. First off, I was telling you, number one, when I was in Vermont and all those places, we were never at a place that had the capability to watch HBO. And I told Amber, I was like, well, maybe I'll just watch it on my laptop. And then I was like, dude, I don't want to watch such a grand scale show on my laptop. Like, that's not the experience I want. And obviously,
Do you normally watch it on the TV?
Game of Thrones.
Oh, I thought you meant the podcast.
No, I don't care for a grand scale.
I'll watch it on my broken phone.
But I mean, I do watch on the big TV from time to time. But I'm saying I wasn't able to watch the actual episode, and therefore I'm not going to let y'all spoil it for me.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm totally playing. I get it.
I wasn't even able to check comments and stuff until I finally watched the episode.
Hard.
It is hard. And I did go back. I watched the episode, obviously. I went and checked the comments. They were all glowing reviews of Lady Laura and Lady Kirby's performance. So thank y'all for tuning in, even though your boy wasn't there.
Your girl was.
But I've told you off mic, and I truly mean this. Me not feeling the need to watch the episode is the ultimate compliment.
I know, and I'm totally
because if you were anyone else that was filling in for my role, I would have been like, I got to check in on this and make sure it's okay. And I
thought we did pretty good.
I didn't feel the need to do that. So I'm glad to be back. I had a wonderful vacation. I would like to, since I didn't get to give my thoughts on the last episode, I'd like to do a quick rundown.
And how many dragons? And all
five. Look, we just gotta understand at this point that the show's a 5. The show's great. I told you a couple episodes ago that I wasn't completely bought into this is better than the first season of Game of Thrones.
I've been bought into it.
Well, I wasn't bought into it at all, mainly because, dude, I rewatch Game of Thrones almost more than any other show that I rewatch. Mm-hmm. And the season 1 is I don't know, it might be my favorite. And part of that is because I love Robert Baratheon so much, and it's the only time we get to be with him.
Bobby B is the best.
He is the best. But I wasn't bought into it until we get to the switcheroo with Laenor, and I was like, okay, we didn't get any of that in.
Well, do you think that first season of Game of Thrones would be better than the first season of House of the Dragon if Game of Thrones had the same budget for season 1 as House of the Dragon?
Maybe.
Because, I mean,
they weren't able to have big dragons and stuff.
Yeah, which, I mean, it wasn't in the story, so it didn't matter.
Of course.
But, have you seen just the side-by-side of, the tournament in Game of Thrones season 1?
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean,
It's hard to argue.
HBO, I'm sure knew, this is going to be a good show, but they didn't know it was going to be a cultural phenomenon.
You can't have the money for, right, you can never predict a cultural phenomenon, but I would say, so I actually, speaking of having the budget or whatever, I'm reading the Harry Potter books right now, and because of that, after each book, I'm going back and watching the movie to see what they left out and stuff. And I just recently watched the first Harry Potter, and it's another example of man, you can tell they didn't have a budget at all.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it because it was kind of I don't know, kind of kitschy and campy, being look what they're doing with practical effects instead of, all this other stuff. But I don't know, it's hard to say. And it's also, another thing that we talk about is if Game of Thrones never existed and this was the first, would it be the cultural phenomenon that Game of Thrones was? There's literally no way to decide.
No.
Because when this show came out, the expectations were probably varied, because it's a lot of people were like, this is Game of Thrones, so I'm expecting it to be great. And then a lot of people are like, the last season of Game of Thrones sucked, I'm expecting this to be bad. So I think that everyone should be well satisfied. The thing I wanted to point out that I wish that I had gotten to comment on was Lord Corliss's brother getting his head cut directly in half.
Clean off.
Blew your head smooth off.
Yeah, smooth off.
It was crazy. And also how wonderful it was that he was like, I'll have your tongue for this. And he literally cut off everything but his tongue. It's just flapping.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. That episode was...
Do you think that he knew, I'm not leaving this room alive. I'm just gonna say what I want to say. Or do you?
Maybe because
Him and his brother, man, the nerve.
I was about to say, like, I don't know. At one point, you got to think to yourself, okay, you have to understand that when you're talking to a king like this, you could die. You know what I mean? But his brother stays doing that. So I don't know, man. I think it was a case of like Icarus flying too close to the sun. Like, I've gotten away with all this forever. And then not when Damon's around, buddy.
Well, how about the shot behind Viserys looking towards the throne when they open the doors for him to walk through?
Oh, wonderful. He's going to win an Emmy for that.
If he doesn't, all right.
I mean, obviously.
I mean, if he doesn't, I'll send a mean text.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I don't know who the other nominees will be, and I probably won't have watched that show. But like, there's sometimes when you just know, like Daniel Day-Lewis.
Got to at least have a nomination.
Like Daniel Day-Lewis with Lincoln. You didn't have to watch any of the other performances to know that, like, this guy, he did it. Like,
David is all.
He was so good in that we all were like, yeah, this is exactly how Lincoln was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We never heard Abraham
Lincoln. I was talking about how amazing it was, and I guess Mom isn't like a Viserys stan like I am.
Yeah.
And she's just like,
which is
okay. And I'm like, Mom, the physical strength it took to be so weak.
Right.
Like the physical.
And vulnerable.
Like literally, like the physical element of his acting in that role for that episode was just insane. He's just vibing with his 4 hairs on his head.
I know, and just the sweetest. And I don't know how Mom couldn't. Like, I don't see how anybody could not like him. Like, he's got both. He's a great paternal character, but also he's got maternal instincts, and he's just
Kelly
sweet.
doesn't like him.
I know. I heard her saying that. She's like, what do y'all mean that Viserys is pure? And we're like, well, in the world where kings are tyrants, he is.
Yeah.
He's
nice. The only thing that the first episode with Emma having, the fact that he did not give her that choice, that was totally wrong. And I was mad.
No.
But
yeah, right. That's true. I've even forgotten about that because of how much of a flip he does.
Yeah.
But you're right. We started out mad at him. But then we saw the humanity of him where he clearly regrets that moment.
And just said that Rhaenyra was his only kid.
Yeah, I love that. So, all right. Those are my thoughts on the last episode. Let's get into this episode. I'll do a quick breakdown from memory here.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we are in King's Landing. The king is dead. We wake up and everyone has been informed. Alicent gives a very genuine cry.
Yeah,
and
she loved him.
Because here's the thing. You don't actually see the king die in the last episode. It's all understood.
That was my love.
Right. It's all understood. So I was halfway expecting this next episode to open up with like us finding out that Alicent had gone and put a pillow over his face.
Yeah.
Because I was waiting for that the whole time. I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah. See, I didn't think that.
Well, you don't know what to expect in these shows. And like, we've already been flipped by, we thought Laenor was dead and he's not. And then I'm like, okay, Alicent, it's possible that in her brain, in her very complicated brain, that she could be like, look, he's going to die anyways. And I could just go ahead and get this over with. But then it's like,
they wanted him to stay alive as long as possible.
That's true, especially so that they could maybe get him to publicly say, I want Aegon to be king, which he didn't, right? So the show opens up. The king is dead. Alicent finds out first. And then, of course, all the little spiders go around telling everybody. And then I think we are directly in the chambers with the small council. And I think a little, like, maybe giving away the game a little bit. Have they had those things with the balls in any other episodes?
I don't know. Yeah. What is, like, it's like a pool ball.
It's like, I'm here. Like, it's
like, remember the mouse?
Yeah, the mouse. Yeah, those are the best
Dad had that mouse.
He did. So I was thinking, I was like, okay, is this like when you're in therapy and someone has the ball and they get to talk? Like, do you pick up your ball? Like, so I immediately saw it because I was like, those I would have recognized because I thought the same thing. It looks like the mouse. I was like, something's going on here. I don't know what. And then, of course, we see, well, they needed something for Sir Criston to plunge Lord Beaselby's head into, which was, we'll talk about it, pretty aggressive. So that happens right after it's been made aware to everybody that the small council behind Alicent's back and behind everyone's back has been plotting to get Aegon on the throne. So Criston kills the dude. The head of the King's Guard, who has got some real big dick bald energy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, huge.
God,
mountain man.
I love him and everything. He was an Outlander. Did you watch Outlander?
Not yet, but it's on my list.
Oh, my gosh.
We could do a podcast on that. Would you?
Really?
Would y'all like it? I mean, I'm in.
Okay. Well, I mean,
as just with this show, you're going to have to do all the work, but
I mean, that's fine. You know, literally all I want to do is talk about my fandoms, and I feel like I just like say all this stuff, and Lloyd's just like, I mean, yeah, did you see Cops last week?
Lloyd is her husband, who is an insanely sweet and burly fireman.
Yeah.
Who not all.
He doesn't appreciate the arts like we do, I don't think.
He doesn't have all the stereotypes of a big burly fireman, but he's got a lot of them, which is like.
Yeah, but then he does beautiful sketches.
That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Like he's a more complicated person than what your stereotypical fireman in a movie would be, mm-hmm. but at the same time, all of those things that you think about, he still has them.
He doesn't like any show that's like any kind of fantasy, anything like that.
Cops, robbers, cowboys, Indians.
Yeah, I mean, Tombstone's our all-time favorite movie.
Well, and that's fine. That's my all-time favorite movie, too. So, Otto, let's see, hold on just a second. The small council and then the head King's Guard leaves, and then they are sent to find Aegon, because they're like, we're going to put him on the throne. Yeah. We got to find Aegon.
We got to act now.
So naturally, they go to the whorehouses. He's not there. We come to find out that he's actually at like some sort of bum fighting ring, and that he's got a bunch of bastards.
And that he like frequents there, and he has his own son.
Yeah, right.
There.
Right.
That's a whole nother level of evil.
We'll get into it. So they finally find him. He's like, I don't want to go. I want the mommy. So they take him back. They're discussing the coronation or whatever. Rhaenys is confronted by Alicent, and she's like, hey, girl power, mm-hmm. What if we just did this? Girl power, girl power. Then
Rhaenys basically calls Alicent a pick-me.
Yes, she does. So then, yada, 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 we get to the coronation. Coronation happens, and you can tell that Aegon, who at first was like, I don't want to do this, is now pretty drunk with power, holding the sword up. Yeah. And then Rhaenys busts in with the dragon, and we'll get into more detail about it later. Last one I expected, frankly, and when I went back and watched the episode, I was like, oh, they're making a show of her leaving.
I just thought it was funny that literally it is like smashed in there, like people could get trampled, and she just very easily just like walks over to the side door like it's a movie theater.
Yeah, right, exactly, exactly. Yeah. And okay, so that's the brief overrun from my memory. Let's break it down. Okay. Let's break it down scene by scene and go.
Let's see. I didn't know you were going to do that.
I do it every week.
I know. I know. And like, I don't. All right. So we open up with Alicent finding out from her maid that the king is dead, and she is very upset because.
Did you think she was going to kill the maid? I keep thinking she's going to kill people.
No, well, I mean, last episode I thought she was going to kill the girl that Aegon raped.
Yeah, right. Me too.
Yeah, I mean, and we talked about it in our podcast, but that was a sad moment for her to really see how her son is the worst. Right. But she finds out the king's dead,
and she doesn't handle it like when Cersei found out her kid was the worst. She was like, and he should be. You know what I mean? But Alicent's very bothered by it.
Yeah, she's very bothered by it. Because, I mean, I see her as a good mom. Which Cersei was like.
A great mom in terms of loyalism.
Yeah, like.
But not in terms of raising a good child. Now, granted, you could say that about Alicent too, but I think Aegon is just, look, man, he was going to be what he was going to. Like, Jeffrey Dahmer's parents couldn't have done anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So she's upset because, let's be fair, she loved the king. Was she in love with him? No, obviously not.
They were good friends.
Yes, they were loving friends, and they had a respect for one another. And we've said it the whole season. When it comes to an arranged marriage situation, it literally could not have been better for Alicent.
Right, really worked out.
Yeah, it worked out. So, yeah, she's sad. She knows, like, everything's about to change. Like, this, even if
Even if he hadn't have said that, like,
Yeah.
even if in her mind he hadn't have said, I want Aegon to be king, which he very didn't.
Yeah.
Even if he hadn't have said that, every single time a king dies, there's always claims.
Yeah.
There's never, like, even when there is a straight logical line of succession,
Yeah.
there's still going to be people like your Lord Corlises and his brother of the world that are like,
Yeah.
I don't care. Like your Stannis Baratheons who were like,
Yeah.
nah, don't care.
So after that, we get to the King's Council meeting.
Mhm.
She goes down there, and she's disheveled. The Lannister guy just makes was Dawn attacked?
Oh yes. Why are we here at such an hour?
That's literally exactly how he talks.
Yes, I know.
So he literally is just always saying something he shouldn't say, and then he has this little awkward shuffle back to his seat when they're like, the king's dead.
Then after Kristen nailed the dude in the face, like, I guess we're carrying on with the meeting.
Yeah, oh my God. And literally, right when the old dude said, this is treason,
yeah,
I looked at you and I said, well, he ain't living long.
Yes, you did.
You didn't
know it would be that short of a time.
I didn't know it was going to be that short, but I just knew, like, more than likely the episode. But I didn't know it was going to be within 5 seconds. He was going to go, sit down.
Yeah.
And just, And
on that note, do you think that he meant to kill him? Or do you think that he was just, like, trying to be really aggressive and that ball happened to be there? Because, again, the ball just conveniently is there. It's like, hey, guys, we're trying out a new ball system today.
No, I'm not sure because it doesn't seem like that'd be the way that he would kill him.
Exactly. And he says sit down. It's not like... you know what I mean? Like, sit down implies I want you to sit down and then us carry on. Not I want you to bleed from the ear until you're dead.
Yeah. I mean, he just gets away with whatever. And
then, of course, Otto shows his true colors when one of the High Council is like, should we remove Lord Beasleby?
Yeah.
And Otto's like, the door shall remain closed until our business is finished. And it's like, wow, okay. Mm-hmm. That's like Nick Saban stepping over one of his linemen that's having a seizure during practice, which happened. Did you ever hear about that?
No, but I mean, that checks out.
When Saban was at the Dolphins, one of his players was having a heat stroke, and Saban literally stepped over him to continue the practice.
I mean, when you sell your soul.
Yeah, well, he didn't sell it enough because he sucked at the Dolphins. But either way, so Sir Kristen kills the dude. But before that, Alicent is so genuinely surprised to learn that they have been plotting this entire time without her. And she's like, what's the meaning of this? And Homie even says, he goes, oh, it was of no, what does he say? He goes, it was no concern of yours to, for us to inform you of darkling conspiracies or something.
I can't remember.
But basically what he was saying was like, oh, we've been doing some bad stuff. Mm-hmm. Like we know that this is treason.
And were they just like doing that whenever Lord Beesbury was still asleep or something?
I guess because he
obviously was not involved.
Right, exactly.
They knew he was loyal.
Exactly. So they had like a little shadow system.
Yeah, they've already figured out who's loyal. I mean, just like Otto said, like there's 2 people in the King's Guard that are loyal, or the City Watch, I can't remember which one, that are loyal to Daemon. In other words, like we know who's on our side already. We have had this escape plan, not planned.
Exactly. So Alicent is then they're all going through the motions of like, all right, well, now that Aegon is going to be king, obviously we're going to have to deal with some fallout from that because, I mean, a lot of the lords and knights have pledged their fealty to Rhaenyra over the years, and somebody makes the point, they're like, oh, they're all half dead, and it's like, right, but like, you can't just throw this on people and expect everybody to go, okay, whatever. One of the things that Otto basically suggests is like, Rhaenyra's going to have to be imprisoned or we're going to have to kill her. And this is the moment you told me, you go, wow, Alicent is such a complicated character when she's like, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
Because Cersei would have been like, off with her head.
Yeah, because Cersei literally is evil.
Right.
And Cersei literally was a bad person. Alicent was not a bad person. She was a good person that's had to make bad choices. And once you have children too, I mean, things...
Yeah, you would do anything for Laura James apropos of moral...
There's no one on this earth I wouldn't kill for her.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, and I know Alicent feels that way, but she also was like, can we just not make it be that way?
Right, and also, this is an Alicent who has just seen in the previous episode exactly what type of person Aegon is. So
Yeah.
if she was true good, maybe she would have just forgotten what she heard. And also, on that note, do you think that she believed what was happening was actually happening? Like, do you think that in her mind she didn't realize that the king was trying to talk to Rhaenyra and not her?
Well, at first I thought, oh, well, she's just putting, 2 and 2 together and making 407. But then it clicked with me, no, she has literally Rhaenyra and Aegon, and I'm not Aegon, Rhaenyra and Viserys were the only two people on Earth that knew about the Song of Ice and Fire.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, why wouldn't she believe
Why
it?
wouldn't she believe it when he talks about the prince that is promised?
Yeah.
And Aegon. I mean, he literally says Aegon.
But he also says the prince that was promised is you.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that to Alicent. So why wouldn't she interpret that as, am I supposed to be on the Iron Throne?
Yeah.
Which I'm just saying, like, it's...
I don't know. I just know that he literally said the word Aegon, though.
That's true.
So
That's true, but there's 9 of them.
evidently, there's only Aegon the Conqueror, Aegon, Viserys the son, and then Rhaenyra decided to, name her kid Aegon, which I just thought was unnecessary.
It's complicated and
yeah,
unnecessary.
I just thought that was like, really?
Yeah. So what happens after this? The small council meets, and then, homie, why'd they hang homie?
Because he was leaving to go tell Rhaenyra.
That's right. They called him at the gates, and he was like, "Well, I was just going out for some cigarettes."
They had these lords in the throne room. Yeah, they had these lords in the throne room, and they're like, "You're not leaving here until you pledge your loyalty."
Right.
Because one dude's like, I'm gonna have to go holler at my house.
Yeah, right.
See what they think.
See what everybody wants.
Yeah, and Otto's, you're not leaving here until you, which I know it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like, if they don't pledge their loyalty right now to Aegon, then they'll be immediately killed. But it's like, if they pledge it to Aegon, then later on, more than likely, Rhaenyra's banners are going to kill him.
Yeah, for sure. And I have to assume that she has a lot of banners because, like I said, or like they said, people have been pledging fealty for her for 20 years, and fealty is not something that these people take lightly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's not just their love of her, it's their... Viserys the Peaceful. That's the first time we've heard the term Viserys the Peaceful. He was beloved.
For sure.
So anything he wanted, the people were loving.
And even if Viserys truly meant what he said on his deathbed and like Aegon should be king, you can't just say to hundreds of thousands of people, hey, by the way, we know what we've been saying was going to happen for 20 years, but on his deathbed in front of only one person, very conveniently, before he died, this happened.
Yeah.
And everyone's just going to be like, oh, because if that was the case, then literally that's how they would do all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single time, whenever a king died, the person that was in there would be like, by the way, they actually said that they wanted me.
Yeah.
So you can't really do that. So they hang homie, then we come back and what happens?
We come back to, is it Alicent meeting with Rhaenys?
I believe that is correct.
She meets with Rhaenys, and she's just like, everyone knows you should have been queen. And Rhaenys is just like, here you are. You're smarter than I thought, but you're basically still letting a man tell you what to do.
Doormat.
Yeah, and Rhaenys is just like, ain't anyone gonna tell me nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. She is just a queen, the icon. A moment. Yeah,
allow me to once again say that Rhaenys was looking fabulous. I mean, this woman is chiseled out of marble, baby.
She is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I think
I say that in every episode we do, but I just think that she is just radiant.
I don't think that we're going to have a moment like she had in this episode only to kill her next episode, but Game of Thrones has done wilder stuff. But I really, really hope that she is not only in season 2, but is like maybe the main part of season 2 because I can't get enough of her on screen.
I can't either. She is just amazing. But so Rhaenys realizes like, oh, y'all are usurping the crown.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh,
this is January 6th stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And right after that, did they find Aegon before that or after?
I think after that because it took them quite a while to find it.
Yeah, so they run out in the...
Because we haven't even talked about that part yet.
Yeah.
We did in the recap, but we have to talk about that part.
Yeah, they realize that Aegon isn't in the Red Keep. And so either Eric or Eric...
Whichever one.
Whichever one.
So many twins in this show.
Yeah, it was an epidemic.
It was an epidemic for sure.
But I don't know which one it was. It was either one of them.
We'll say it was Eric.
We'll say it was Eric. He is like, Egon.
He's like, hey, you got to go. Where is he? And he's like, weren't you weren't you sworn to protect him? And he said something to the effect of he uses his power to get away from me.
Yeah.
You know, he uses his power to get away from me, and then I don't know what you want me to do.
Yeah,
like,
there is nothing.
Like he runs away, and it's like a dog. You know,
I mean, I can't do anything.
Like sometimes I have to go use the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So,
and he runs out.
They go to the Street of Silk, which is, just like the
red light district.
Yeah. And
you know about the red light district? You're not Amber.
I haven't visited there.
Yeah, right. But Amber wouldn't have known that, is what I'm saying. And she's the girl I talk to most.
Yeah, no, I know. But you know how I am.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's some people that can play Trivial Pursuit and just know things, and then there's some people that don't.
That's true. And me and you are in the former category.
Yes, we are. But so they go to the Street of Silk, and there's like they talk to a madam, and this was so funny. So Eamon is with Sir Kristen Cole because he's like, I'll go with you. Like, I know.
He's sort of growing on me, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, I understand him.
Yeah, me too.
He's like, I'll go with you. Like, I know what he does. So he's telling Kristen Cole about how on his 13th name day, Aegon took him to the Street of Silk. And he basically says just something that does not, I'm trying to think of the word.
He said something to the effect of like, today you become a man or whatever. And he goes something to that effect. And he goes, what did he really say? He said, time to get it wet.
Yeah. So, and then Sir Kristen Cole, obviously he has gotten religious. It clicked with me when I was just rewatching it. He's gotten a little religious because of his love of Allison.
Right.
And he said, a woman is a reflection of the mother and should be spoken about in reverence. Yeah, and it's just like, oh yeah, you're so morally superior.
Yeah, right. You're out there on your pedestal.
Yeah, literally, he called Rhaenyra "See you next Tuesday"
and killed a man on a mouse.
Yeah, and it's just terrible.
Yeah,
he's the worst.
He's the worst. So in Game of Thrones, when you see Jaime being the worst, but then he sort of redeems himself. There's literally nothing that Sir Kristen could do for me to be back on his team.
Yeah, and he's the worst kind of evil because he's someone that actually thinks he is morally right.
Yeah, he's an incel.
Such an incel. Like, Joffrey was just like, obviously the most sadistic evil. But him and Ramsay Bolton, tied. But,
rough contest. I mean, that's Alabama, Georgia in the national championship right there.
He was just like, this is fun to me. I want to be evil. So Kristen Cole thinks that he is just like on this moral crusade.
Yeah, and he don't hit. So they're down there in the silk streets. They're looking for the White Worm because she clearly holds all the information. And they go to the first brothel and they're like, yo, has Aegon been here? And she's like, yeah, a long time ago. He has since moved past this type of filth into a way more filthy
He doesn't care about whores. He just likes to watch children with long fingernails and their teeth filed to points kill each other.
Right. Eat each other to death.
I mean,
he's on that level.
Yeah, and then we learn he's got at least one bastard.
Right.
Who
I think they insinuate that they were like, it's one of many. I think
he said Eric or Eric, either one, said, more than likely there's more.
Right.
And he frequents that place and also has his bastard son as one of the fighters. And this kid's 5 or 6.
Oh, yeah. He was teeny tiny.
He was little bitty. I mean, it's literally like Laura James's size.
Right.
And so we're like, okay, well, he is just the worst because I know that his bastard couldn't be like in line for the throne, but he could like take it back to the Red Keep and be like, hey, let him just grow up in the royal nursery with the other kids or something.
Or at the very least, not file his teeth down and have him bite people to death.
Like,
Honestly, anywhere in the middle of those two things.
He could at least set him up for a little bit more comfort.
Yeah, right. Like, Robert Baratheon ignores his, but that was still better than like, making them pit bulls.
Yeah, I mean, I think Robert Baratheon might not have even known about all his.
Probably not.
I mean, he was just eating chicken legs, doing the stanky leg.
Making the 8.
Yeah, just doing it. Do it to it. But, no, Aegon's the worst. He's just doing that, and so they end up finding him. They, like, drag him from under, like, a table thing. And he's like, I don't want this. I don't want this.
He's smacked out of his mind, too.
Yeah. Oh, and the White Worm tells Otto, like, by the way, this is before they find Aegon. Because she ends up telling him where Aegon is.
And the White Worm was Daemon's old gal, right?
Yeah, and I'm assuming, I don't know if he helped her get to power. Not that a woman needs a man's help, but
in that world, they kind of do.
In that world, yeah, you need some sort of leg up,
right?
You know, because I mean, it's a total class system. It's but she tells Otto, like, I could kill him like a wasp on a flower or something, something to that. And she's like, you owe me. Like, in other words, I'm the reason he is going to be king. So, run and tell that, homeboy. So Otto's like, I'll remember that, which means I'll try to kill you at least halfway through next season.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they get Aegon. Aegon's like, I don't want this. Like, no, I just want to fight my kids. Have my kids fight.
Yeah, and just, rape and pillage and do all that fun king stuff, but not have to be the king.
As he should, obviously. Yeah, of
course, as is his birthright.
Yeah, as is his birthright. And Alicent's like, no, fam, we gotta do this.
Don't know what to tell you, but we've already made quite the stink about it.
Yeah, it's been a thing. And so they head back, and I don't know how many days have gone by, but they're just letting Viserys just rot.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Viserys was rotting plenty before he died, so there wasn't much left of him to rot away. The poor soul, rest in peace, pour one out for a king.
Yeah, pour one out. Well, they get back. We cut to Rhaenys. Rhaenys, obviously, they're going to kill Rhaenys.
Right.
And one of the Erics comes in, and he's like, oh, I can't stand for this any longer.
I got to get you out of here, girl.
I got to get you out of here. So he goes and gets her.
You, when we were watching this episode, and I was with you, were like, this is a trick. They're going to take her somewhere and light the building on fire.
Yeah. I mean, oh, God, that would have been terrible. So he gets her. They go through... like the little,
underground
system. Well, at first they go through the common area at the Red Keep,
and she's just got her hood up, trying to look like a peasant.
She sees dude hanging.
Yep.
And she's like, oh, God, So she's just Kermit.
She's full Kermit.
And full Kermit, and she's just, like, going. And we cut to, like, seeing a building on fire, and I'm assuming what that was is her chambers on fire.
Like, they thought you were in here, but luckily Eric got you out.
Yeah, so he takes her to the flea bottom or whatever, and there's a huge crowd, and they're going towards the dragon pit. And so she's just like, oh, okay. And they're just going fast, and they all get to the dragon pit, which, by the way, we did not talk about this earlier in the episode, whenever Alicent goes to tell Helena, who, by the way, obviously Helena, there's just no way she's not going to have the worst death ever eventually, because she's so pure of heart.
Sweet, yeah.
She's sweet and too good for this world, so the worst thing's going to happen to her, without a doubt. So,
yeah, I mean, very similar to Stannis' daughter, Karine.
Shireen.
Yeah.
Shireen.
It seems like we're getting set up.
Yeah, we are. So, oh my God, that's a UPS. That just scared the crap out of me.
When you were going to
Oh my God. So when Alicent goes to tell her that her dad's dead, she cuts her off and goes, there's a beast beneath the boards.
Yeah, right.
So, and by the way, everyone just ignores her. Every time she's got some sort of prophecy, they're just like, Helena.
Helena with her prediction.
So they get to the dragon pit. Everyone's just all in there. And Otto's like, Viserys the Peaceful's dead. We got a new king. Let's vibe. Let's holler. And all the King's Guard lines up, and they're doing their stomping. and in comes Egon, and he's just like looking like the lead singer of My Chemical Romance,
he sure
just in
did.
his emo vibes. Like, I didn't ask to be here, guys.
Come on.
Yeah, and when I was a young boy,
my father took me into the city to see a marching band.
He looks just like him.
He does.
So he does that. He gets up on like the stage, and if you remember, in Viserys' dream that he had many, 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 many years ago, whenever he was trying to get him a male heir, when he was still married to Emma, he had a dream of having a male heir that wore Aegon's crown.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you noticed at the crowning ceremony, they put Aegon the Conqueror's crown on Aegon.
They sure did.
So
are you suggesting that this is correct?
I'm suggesting that he saw, in a way,
what was
this happening, but he didn't realize that this was the road.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I understand. Like, he had the epiphany, but didn't realize that it was going to go down like
Yeah,
this.
because, like, after, like, he didn't have, the boy died and stuff with Emma, he was like, well, I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because, he even has that moment with Alicent, that one episode where he's just like, oh, well, I had this dream, and I thought that it was true, and Emma ended up dying because of my selfishness. Right. So they go and crown him, and all of a sudden Aegon's just like,
huh, huh, huh.
And by the people that are just listening, we just punched the air 3 times
with our swords. Yeah, with our fake swords.
Man, I wish we had a lightsaber or something.
I know. We have swords.
Talk about just not being prepared today.
I know. We suck.
Yeah, we do. So that happens, and then all of a sudden, which this is like the whole dragon pit, which probably wasn't a good idea to have it in the dragon pit.
No, I agree.
It's a bunch of people. All of a sudden, the beast beneath the boards just busts up, and you see it's a dragon, but you don't. It ain't clicking. It didn't click with me.
No, it didn't click. I thought, like, okay, there's somebody shot wildfire at this thing, or like, I don't know. Like, I just wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah. So all of a sudden you see a dragon, and people are dying.
Yeah.
Hundreds of people are dying.
Thousands, maybe.
Thousands
maybe.
Yeah.
Innocent civilians.
It's a terrorist attack.
It's an absolute terrorist attack.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it like becomes clear that it is Rhaenys on this dragon. And it's like,
did you think it was Rhaenyra?
No.
I did, just because she hadn't been in the whole episode.
I know, and that's what's, I know.
Or Daemon.
I know, and I missed Daemon.
I did too. I mean, the episode was still good considering they were gone, but like, I need me some Daemon.
And all of a sudden it's Rhaenys, and we as an audience truly are. She is an icon. She is the moment.
Mm-hmm.
She is everything. And I know as a viewer, there's no way she's about to Dracarys all them, because then it would just be
no. But end. I still thought
I was like, hoping.
Yeah, right.
I was hoping it was going to happen, because it should have. But then Helena would have had to die, and that would have been really sad.
That's true.
But a necessary thing, I guess.
If they could just do like a sniper Dracarys and just get
What's
Otto.
so funny is literally she kills thousands of people just so her dragon can breathe its stanky breath on all
that's
them.
it. Just breathe your stanky breath.
Yeah. And so the dragon, all over them. And, which if you notice before that, did you hear Alicent say, get Helena?
Yes.
Protect her,
right, at all costs.
Protect her at all costs, because I love her.
And she's pure. She did absolutely nothing to deserve it.
That she loves her. Alicent's a good mother to her. Besides making her marry her rapist brother, which that was
right.
Yeah, that was a mistake if we're in hindsight. I guess
I would say probably would not make her marry the rapist brother.
Yeah. So that happens. Then we get Rhaenys just out of the dragon pit, and we're done.
It got out of that small hole very easily. Like, when we come back and we see that the hole wasn't really that big, I started thinking about the Pentagon on 9/11. I was like, there's no way a dragon could have fit through there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That was an analogy that you used.
It was an analogy that I used.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, yeah. So that was it.
What did we forget in the episode?
We forgot about Allison using her feet as modern currency.
With who?
Laris Strongfoot.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll give you some info. And she's just like, one suck at a time. And so he has his little moment, which, by the way, all the years of incest that we just watched, and we were just like, whatever. And then all of a sudden, no, someone has a foot fetish, and it's like, draw the line. So that happened, and it was disgusting, and I can't believe that we didn't talk about it.
Me either.
Terrible. Yeah. I mean, I'll give every episode 5 dragons.
It's 5 dragons. I think here's what we need to do.
The only thing, I mean, I just miss Damon in it.
The only way that this ranking system is going to be right is I think that, and by the way, this is the penultimate episode, which means after this, we've only got one more episode of Little House of the Dragon. I'm very sad. We're going to continue to do stuff. Possibly Game of Thrones. I think we said that we just do that.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, Outlander, all of it.
Why not? I think Game of Thrones would make the most sense, but I have lost my complete train of thought.
The very end where
this is what I meant. The way that we're going to have to make this everything 5 dragons make sense where we can actually have a ranking is once the season is finally over, we need to go back and look at each episode and rank all of them in terms of like, so even though we've loved every episode, one of them has to be our least favorite episode.
Yeah, I think maybe we need to do an episode where literally we have like a board behind us that's literally like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. We'll like completely rank every episode.
Okay, so here's what I like. After the finale, we then have a big grand finale episode ourselves that has nothing to do with the finale. It's separate from that episode where we talk about the entire season at large and make predictions for next season. And again, rank each episode.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way. Because again, we've given everything 5 dragons, so it's almost pointless.
Yeah.
But there are ones that we like better. Like so far, the Laenor reveal is my favorite episode. Chef's Kiss, think it's the best. This one was 5 dragons too. We hope you enjoyed it. And we hope that you'll continue with us after this episode, but we 100% will be back for season 2 of Little House of the Dragon. I assume it will be a very anticipated podcast.
Yeah, in 2024.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I might be dead by then. Oh my God.
I know.
Jesus. All right. Well, hey, but between now and then, you'll still have new episodes every Friday of Puttin on Airs, the sister podcast of this podcast. You can find it wherever you get your podcast. Please like, download, subscribe, tell all your friends, leave us a 5-star review. It takes you 2 seconds, but it helps us out a lot. Or you can watch that and all these episodes at watchpoa.com. And remember, if you would like to get all the other stuff that I do, ad-free and whatnot, you can go to parttimefunnyman.com, which is where I'm going to be focusing all of my energy for the next 2 years at least, because I just found out I'm having a baby and I want to be a daddy. So, love y'all. For Lord Corey and Lady Kirby. Peace.
Peace.